why Mary? Why was Mary the one who anointed his feet? Peter and James and John, his closest disciples, were there. They could have been the ones who anointed his feet, or Lazarus was there. Jesus had just raised Lazarus from the dead. Surely he should be the one who should give this act of thanks. Why Mary? One way of answering that is perhaps Mary was compelled, was moved to pour out the perfume because she was so aware of how Jesus had poured life into her. How Jesus had been the one who had poured life into her. As you know from your studies of history and of society, in Jesus' day, women were treated as nobodies. Women were of no worth. Families didn't even bother to send their daughters to school because they thought education was wasted on girls. Their job would be to grow up and to provide babies and to take care of the house and to cook meals. So in a society where women were nothing, Jesus had poured meaning and value into Mary's life by welcoming her as one of his disciples, along with the men and along with the other women who were there. He had allowed Mary to be his student. He had invested his time as teacher in here. He saw Mary as a cherished child of God and treated her that way. And so into that empty life, Jesus had poured meaning and poured value. And so Mary could not help but pour thanksgiving back to Jesus with this $50,000 bottle of perfume. We're in the closing weeks of Lent, this fifth week, and then we start Holy Week. And during Lent, it's been our job, it's been the work of Lent. Think about what is our relationship to God? What do we receive from God, and then how do we live in fellowship with God? And Mary in this text perhaps suggests to us that one way is to think of our lives. Where are the places where we feel empty? Where are the places where we feel wounded and hurt? Where do we need healing? Where do we need the healing ointment? And where do we need to be filled with life? And Jesus welcomes us here today as a time of worship to once again allow ourselves to be filled by God. Once again to allow God's extravagant gift of life to be poured into our lives in the ways that we need it most. We have another example of how that happens today, because today is St. Patrick's Day. Some of you have green on today for St. Patrick's Day. And Patrick is another example of one who was first filled by God and then chose to pour out his life for the sake of others. Not a lot is known about St. Patrick's. There's just 2 short letters of his that are actually left in existence, and the rest is just tradition. But we do know that Patrick was born in Great Britain in around the year 360, 370, something like that. You can probably tell me better than I know. He was born into a Roman family in the south part of Great Britain. The Roman Empire that controlled Israel in Jesus' day through the centuries spread up through Europe into Great Britain. They became Christian as the Roman Empire was Christianized. So Patrick belonged to a Roman Christian family living in the southern part of England. And when he was 16 years old, he was kidnapped by Irish pirates that came across the Irish Sea, landed in England, captured Patrick, took him back to Ireland, and for 6 years he was a slave tending to livestock in Ireland. But then he escaped, but instead of going right back to Britain, he went to Europe and entered into a seminary and became a priest. He became a priest. He wanted to serve God with his life. But where did he go? Where did he go to serve? Who did he go to serve? He went back to serve the people who had kidnapped him and treated him so cruelly. Having had the experience of God filling his life with blessing, Patrick wanted to go back to the very place where they had once captured him to pour that blessing out on the people. And today's historians point to Patrick and 2 other priests at the time that started the whole process of Christianizing Ireland. So once again, a model to us of how in our own lives are the ways that God fills us. Where are we empty, and where does God come to fill us? And how can we use our lives to bless others? Patrick knew that if you're going to be a chalice, if you're going to be a container that pours out blessing, you also need to be continually refilled. The cup that pours out quickly goes empty if it's not refilled. So he knew it was And the title is, I bind unto myself today the strong name of the Trinity. We tie God to us. Patrick said, if you're walking through life, you're in danger, you get exhausted, you gotta tie God to yourself. You gotta let yourself be enfolded by God. And so he says, I bind unto myself the name of the Trinity. It's like when we baptize a child, and we baptize them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Patrick says, take that blessing and hold it close. Let God feed you. You'll see in the verses of the hymn, Patrick also said, look, as you're walking through life, look at the beauty around you. Look at the mountains, look at the trees, look at the stars in the heaven. Those are signs of God's power. Soak them in. Let yourself be filled by creation. Let yourself be filled by the joy that is there. Because it's as we're filled by God that we're also able to pour out our life for others. And so we come here today as God's people. Here also in this place and in this meal. We're here to let God pour into us the extravagant gift of life. So that we too, like Mary, like Patrick, go out into the world and also offer our lives to others. In Jesus' name. Amen. We're going to sing St. Patrick's hymn, hymn number 450.